Imagine checking into a motel room and never being seen again. No witnesses, no exit, no trace. It's late at night. A man pulls into a roadside motel after a long drive. He signs his name in the guest book, accepts a room key, and disappears into the darkness of room 104. Security cameras confirm it. He unlocks the door, steps inside, and shuts it behind him. But the next morning, the room is spotless, the bed untouched, his suitcase gone, not a single fingerprint left behind, and the man himself? He is never seen again. This is not an urban legend told by teenagers around a campfire. This is a case logged in police reports, dissected in newspaper columns, whispered among locals for decades. This is the story of Daniel Reed and the haunting, unsolved mystery of room 104. Tonight, we're going to step back into the humid summer of 1992. We'll retrace Daniel Reed's final known hours, exploring who he was, why he might have been travelling, and the strange set of circumstances that led him to that doomed motel. We'll walk through the discovery that stunned the housekeeper and left detectives with nothing but more questions. We'll dig into the investigation, the contradictory witness accounts, the media frenzy, the rumours that consumed the small Ohio town. We'll revisit the most chilling piece of evidence ever recovered, a forgotten VHS tape, showing something, or someone, moving inside the room, hours after Reed vanished. And then we'll examine the theories. From rational explanations like stress, fugue states, or abduction, to darker ones involving government cover-ups, organised crime, and the possibility that the room itself hides something beyond comprehension. It was July 1992. The stretch of highway cutting through rural Ohio was quiet, the kind of road lined with fields, barns, and the occasional gas station glowing like a lonely lighthouse in the dark. The motel sat just off the shoulder. It had been built in the mid-60s, back when the interstate was busier, and roadside lodgings promised families a clean bed, a soda machine, and a swimming pool out back. But by the 90s it had seen better days. The pool was drained and cracked, weeds sprouting where children once splashed. The beige paint on the walls had dulled to a sickly yellow. The roofline sagged. Truckers called it a last resort stop. Local teenagers dared each other to sneak around its halls. Families rarely pulled in anymore. At 11:47 p.m, headlights swung across the cracked parking lot. A dark sedan rolled up to the lobby, engine rumbling before shutting off. Out stepped Daniel Reed. Reed was 48 years old, an accountant from Akron. He wasn't famous, rich, or the type to end up in police files. He was ordinary. But if you asked those who knew him, they'd say he had grown. Different. Colleagues at his firm said he had become withdrawn, often skipping after-work drinks, staying late at his desk, staring at ledgers longer than necessary. His sister recalled cancelled family dinners. His ex-wife told reporters that, since the divorce, he'd spent more and more time driving alone at night. Friends believed he was carrying invisible burdens, though no one could name them. That night he looked tired. His salt and pepper hair was uncombed, his shoulders slumped. In his right hand was a small suitcase, light enough to carry with ease. Inside the lobby, a teenage clerk sat behind the counter, reading a magazine. Their interaction was brief. Reed asked for a room. He paid in cash. He signed his name, Daniel Reed. The clerk would later tell police that something about the signature seemed off, shaky, strained, like he wasn't used to writing it, the clerk said. But the cameras confirmed everything. At 11:49 p.m., Daniel Reed walked down the dimly lit corridor, key in hand. He stopped at the door labelled 104, unlocked it, and stepped inside. The door shut. That was the last confirmed moment of his life. The next morning, the housekeeper began her rounds. At 9 a.m, she knocked softly on 104. No answer. She knocked again. Still silence. After waiting, she used her master key. The door swung open to reveal nothing. The bed was untouched, the floral comforter smoothed flat, the pillows fluffed, exactly as she had left them. The bathroom sink gleamed, dry as bone. The mirror held no fog, no splash marks. The towels hung neatly, unused. There were no shoes by the bed, no clothes draped over a chair, no half-empty glass on the nightstand. Reed's suitcase, the one he had carried in so clearly on camera, was gone. The air smelled faintly of cleaning chemicals, the kind used during deep cleans. But the housekeeper hadn't been inside since the day before. And in the corner sat the old CRT television, unplugged. Its cord lay heavy with dust. It hadn't been used in weeks. The housekeeper backed out, shaking, and called the manager. Police were summoned. Detectives arrived. They combed through the room with flashlights and evidence kits. They found nothing. No fingerprints, not even on the doorknob. No stray hairs, no fibres, no footprints in the carpet. It was as if the room had swallowed Daniel Reed whole. The only proof he'd been there at all was the shaky scrawl of his name in the guest book. But even that was called into question. Forensic analysts later compared it to Reed's handwriting samples. It looked like his, but not exactly. Some letters were just slightly off, almost as if someone had imitated his hand. Witness accounts provided no clarity. The housekeeper swore she saw Reed with her own eyes. The truck driver in room 106 told police he heard coughing from next door at around 1 a.m, but he admitted he wasn't sure. A woman in room 102 insisted she heard faint static, the low hum of a television, coming from 104 around 3 a.m. But the television had been unplugged for weeks. Detectives turned to the CCTV footage. They reviewed it frame by frame. At 11:47 p.m, Reed entered the lobby. At 11:49, he walked the corridor, unlocked room 104, and stepped inside. After that, nothing. No one left through that door. No one crawled out the window, which was bolted half shut and overlooked the parking lot. No hidden entrances, no fire escapes, no camera blind spots. Daniel Reed had entered room 104. He had never come out. The case went cold. Weeks passed. Reed's family demanded answers. The press circled. Headlines dubbed it "The Room That Ate a Man." Detectives followed every lead they could find. They interviewed Reed's co-workers. No debts, no enemies. They questioned his ex-wife. No threats, no mysterious calls. They combed through his financials. No secret accounts, no unusual withdrawals. His car still sat in the motel lot, keys tucked inside the glove box. The diary found at his home contained only the mundane: grocery lists, meeting notes, scribbled reminders about bills. Nothing that hinted at a man preparing to vanish. And yet, vanish he had. Months later, the investigation took its most chilling turn. During an upgrade of the surveillance system, a technician uncovered an unlabelled VHS tape lodged behind the recorder. On it was a fragment of footage from the night Reed disappeared. The timestamp read 3:14 a.m. The frame showed the exterior of room 104. The thin curtains swayed faintly, and behind them, a figure. For 20 long seconds, the silhouette of a man paced back and forth, shoulders, arms, head, restless, human. Then it stopped. Slowly, it turned, pressing close to the curtain. For a moment, it seemed to peer directly at the camera. The lights inside flickered once. And then, the figure vanished. The curtains moved gently, but no one was there. Police played the tape again and again. Some said it was a trick of light, the swaying of curtains, the grain of VHS distorting shadows. Others swore they saw Reed's exact outline. But one fact chilled them all. If Reed was gone, who or what was pacing inside the room at 3:14 a.m.? The VHS footage became the heart of the case. To Reed's family, it was proof that something happened in that room beyond explanation. His sister told reporters she couldn't sleep after watching it, convinced her brother was trapped in there somehow. Theories multiplied. Some argued Reed had suffered a psychological break, a dissociative fugue state. Overwhelmed by stress, he had abandoned his life. But the question remained, how did he vanish without leaving the motel, without touching a single doorknob or window? Others believed in abduction, a professional job, swift and silent, leaving no evidence. But who would target an ordinary accountant with no debts, no criminal ties, no enemies? Organised crime was floated, but dismissed quickly. Reed had no record, no suspicious connections. And then came the paranormal theories. Guests whispered of room 104 long before Reed. Strange drafts, whispers in the walls. Televisions flickering on by themselves. One man claimed he woke to find a figure standing at the foot of his bed, only for it to vanish when he turned on the light. Was room 104 cursed? A thin spot between worlds? A trap that consumed those unlucky enough to sleep inside? Every explanation collapsed under scrutiny. Every theory ended with the same chilling question. How does a man step into a room and simply cease to exist? The motel shut down in the early 2000s, abandoned to weeds and rot. Locals said it was cursed, and travellers who knew its story avoided it altogether. Urban explorers still sneak inside. They describe the air in room 104 as heavy, unnatural. Some swear they hear the low crackle of static from the old, unplugged TV. Others claim to see a shadow pacing behind the curtains, just like on the VHS tape. 3 decades later, the case of Daniel Reed remains unsolved. The record shows he checked in. He walked into room 104. No one has ever seen him leave. Was Reed a man desperate to vanish? A victim of abduction? Or did he stumble into something darker? A fracture in reality itself? We may never know. So if one night you find yourself driving a lonely highway and a faint neon vacancy sign flickers in the distance, remember Daniel Reed. Remember room 104, and maybe, just maybe, keep driving.